The 485th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and legal in 40 states. Head on over to cut.com, that's KUTT.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And finally, we're brought to you by the SGPN NFL Playoff Challenge, sponsored by Edge Boost. Free to enter, and $20,000 in Edge Boost deposit bonuses are up for grabs. Enter today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL playoff.
Howdy ho, Degenerinos. Is the song coming back on again? Let's hear it.
No, it's gone.
No, Gumby did it right.
I remember this time.
Episode 485. I'm going to dedicate it to you, Gumby. We're going to dedicate it to someone else, but Gumby didn't screw up, so Gumby gets props this episode. Thank you for coming to the show. UFC is back. I was going to say we're back, but we never left. We've been in your ears. Same schedule. UFC may take breaks, but we don't. We're going to finish off our UFC Fight Night Ankalaev versus Walker 2 breakdown, aka UFC Vegas 84. With the main card, we did the prelims yesterday. That was a fun episode, and we're back. It's going to be another fun one today because I have Gumby Vreeland, aka Danny V, riding shotgun. Hello, Danny V.
Hey, what's up? You didn't give me anything to play off of. So
I gave you nothing. Well, me after
hey,
all the work here, come on. Thoughts on the okay. We only got 5 fights breakdown. You want to talk about any of the fights that have been announced since we recorded last?
No. There's no good ones.
There's been tons.
Do you want to talk about Brian Battle fighting who I thought was Tresean Gore again?
That's not Tresean Gore.
No,
I thought it was too.
No, that's Ange Lusa. Like I looked at that picture and I was like, that's racist, what I said. I didn't want to feel bad about it, but like then I showed it to my wife to make sure I'm like, well, at least if we're gonna be bad, we're gonna like both be bad. But like Ange Lusa looks quite a bit like Tresean Gore, and they already have bad blood, so I already associate Brian Battle with Tresean Gore all the time. And so then when that picture came up, I was like, they're making him fight again, and then there was like a little Swiss flag at the bottom, and I was like, oh, that's Ange Lusa.
He moved.
I'm glad you were confused by that too. That makes me feel
it was
better,
too.
right?
I just assumed it was. So
No.
we're they either look like or we're both racist. So hopefully it's the former. But
I hope it's the former.
So you're not interested about any of the other fights that were announced? You don't want to talk about?
I mean, like which ones? Like you want to talk about Robelis Despange getting exactly who I expected they would give him?
Yeah, that's true. You predicted that one, didn't you?
Verbatim. Perfect.
Robelis Despange is the gentleman who knocks everyone out in a couple seconds, and he's a heavyweight. And who are they giving him for his UFC debut?
Is it Jared Vandera? Yeah, they gave Jared Vandera. That's perfect.
Yeah, I forgot he was even in the UFC still. We mentioned him yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, he's still around. I guess there's a reason they keep these guys around. So newcomers
when you can't keep Chase Sherman around, you got to keep somebody around.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. Thoughts on the main card we're going to be breaking down today, since you don't want to talk about any of the big fights that have been announced.
A lot of fun fights. Like, I mean, like the top 2 fights feel like they have title implications in them already. I mean, one guy fought for a title and didn't lose. And then Manel Kape is, since he's decided that he actually fights, has looked like maybe the best flyweight in the world. Because like those first 2 fights were like weird and fluky. And since then he's looked good. So I mean, like when you're 3 fights down and you're talking about Mario Bautista and Ricky Simone, like that's pretty damn good.
And this is a Apex card too.
Yeah.
The knock is they don't ever stack those. So you get a middleweight or light heavyweight fight in the main event, which we have, but they actually have a solid
good one
undercard for a change. So
it's also a good light heavyweight one. It's not like they're giving us like another Anthony Smith fight.
Yeah. It's a fight that actually should be rematched after the last fight. So it makes sense that they're running it back again. We could have been even stronger though. We did lose some fights. Seeing which ones we actually totally lost. We lost Yana Santos, Norma Dumont, which it's bantamweight, so it's
title implications.
Top of the division fight, right?
That's title implications.
Exactly. That's true. Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chiton, same thing. Bantamweight. So that one got scrapped too. So obviously, I'm joking, but those fights wouldn't be horrible. They would have fit just fine on this card. So yeah, it could have been stronger, but they did find opponents for some of the fights that have fallen through. We had a couple short notice ones on the last episode. So of course you have to fade those if you're Jeff Chalks Fox because of his stats. So if there's any other stats people want me to track this year, let me know. Preferably in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Let me know before actually we get rolling, and then I can track different stats if you want to hear different stats this year on the podcast. So odds on the fights here, you think they're decent?
Yeah, they're right about where I thought they would be, and in fact, 2 of them are way better than I thought they would be.
Excellent. So we have some good picks coming up. Okay, very very good to know. Let's jump into it first. Middleweight fight: Phil Hawes versus Brunno Ferreira. And that, like I said, it's the middleweight fight. 3 5-minute rounds, and it's opening up the main card. Well, the main card is 7 o'clock, right? 7 Eastern on ESPN Plus. And we're going to start off with Hawes and Ferreira. Hawes, no hype. Phil Hawes, don't worry. You're not getting any hype from us, right?
Probably not. No.
I'm taking that as an order. No hype. Don't give him any hype. He's 12-5, Mr. Hawes. 8 knockouts, 2 submissions. 4. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted once. So he hosts his rounds. 4-3 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight and only won 1 of his last 4. All of his losses have come via knockout. Actually, even the win in amongst those 4 was a knockout win. 1-1 in Contender Series, 1-1 on World Series of Fighting. 2014 Pro MMA debut. 1-0 as a pro kickboxer. Wrestling champion in college. All-American, I believe they are called. 2 inches of height on Ferreira. 5 inches reach. Better striking stats. Better grappling stats. And he's got a positive strike differential plus 1.85. Plus 110 is the number on Hawes. Ferreira, the Hulk. 10-1. 7 knockouts, 3 submissions, 1-1 in the UFC. Lost his last fight via TKO. 1-0 in Contender Series. Was a regional champion. 3 years younger than Phil Hawes. More active landing strikes. Has a positive strike differential plus 0.57 minus 120. I usually kick off the main card. Give me Cesar Ferreira over Phil Hawes. Like I said, no hype for Phil Hawes. Not a fan, and he gets himself knocked out nonstop recently. So going up against a guy who can crack, give me Ferreira.
Yeah, how can you back Phil Hawes coming off of like 3 recent knockouts in his last 4 fights against a dude who just hits so freaking hard, right? Like that's what Brunno Ferreira does. Like whether you like Brunno Ferreira as a prospect or not, kind of doesn't matter to me. I'm a little bit lower on him because that's kind of all he does. But like he's up against a guy who's had his button touched a few times. And it's not just even that too, right? Like his last 3 fights, yeah, knockout losses, but it goes all the way back to his first time on the Contender Series when he got knocked out by Julian Marquez. He took a head kick and went out pretty brutally in that fight too. So like this is a guy who's taken a lot of damage over his career up against a guy who dishes out a lot of damage. Yeah, of course I want Ferreira here.
And I believe I mistakenly said Cesar Ferreira at one point. It is of course
Brunno Ferreira.
Just call him Hulk.
Middle, another middleweight. Yeah, that's Mutanche though.
That's right. So it's mutant versus a Hulk if they fight each other. The Hulk is a mutant.
Although I think Ferreira fights up at like light heavyweight or heavyweight now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you about a couple of our lovely sponsors, and then we'll move on with the rest of the picks. What am I starting with today, Gumby? I'm starting with DraftKings, of course. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Gumby, do you have a line other than Cowboys? Pick the Cowboys, or is it still?
I like the Cleveland Browns this weekend in football as well. Yeah, I know everybody's big on the Browns, and it's distorting things a little bit, but yeah, I like the Browns.
Those words are never said in the about Cleveland Browns in the playoffs, but Gumby's saying them. He's big on the Browns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code SGP. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resorts in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Just call me void. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. And game time. Take some of those winnings you're going to get from DraftKings. Buy some tickets from Game Time. Game Time is the place for last minute ticket deals, and it's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. You get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Perfect for the playoffs. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. We're going to bantamweights now. A fun one, right, Gumby? Yes,
I
you
love
mentioned
this
this one
fight.
off the top.
Yeah, I love this
off
fight.
the top. Tough one to pick for you?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Good. You
Not
get
at
to
all.
pick first, so we'll see if I end up.
You're
flipping anything.
gonna find my confidence very alarming, probably.
Oh, okay. Because I have flipped on this fight. We'll see if I flip again. Bantamweights, Ricky Simón versus Mario Bautista, of course, is what we were talking about. We'll tell you about Bautista first. He's 13-2, 3 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 7-2 in the UFC. He's won 5 straight fights. He's not lost since March of 2021. Used to fight at featherweight, 3 inches taller than Simón. Or Simon, more active than
Simón. It's Simón.
Simón or Simon. Simón. Ricky Simón, you're right. Bautista has got a positive strike differential of 1.12 strikes per minute, and he's at plus 155 on the board. Simón, 20-4, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 8-3 in the UFC, 5-1 over his last 6. He lost his last fight via TKO. He used to fight at 145 and 155, was the LFA champion. 1-0 in Contender Series, 2014 Pro MMA debut. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.22 strikes per minute. Better grappling stats than Bautista, minus 160. All right, Gumby. You're so confident. Go ahead.
Ricky Simón, all day. Ricky
Simón. Good. That's where I ended up too. So good.
Yeah, and look, I like Mario Bautista. I love Mario Bautista's offensive wrestling. I think it's exceptional. I think he's probably one of the more underrated bantamweights. But going into that last fight with Damon Blackshear, I told you guys, I picked him on Blackshear in that fight, despite him taking that fight on 13 minutes notice. And the reason I took him was I told you guys, Mario Bautista's offensive wrestling is exceptional. His defensive wrestling is not good. And we saw that, Damon Blackshear didn't even get to do a training camp. He was coming off of a weight cut, had to do another one right away, and still managed to get Mario Bautista down a couple of times. And a lot of people think he won that fight. I'm not here to knock Mario Bautista defensively wrestling, but he's also here fighting Ricky Simón. Ricky Simón is a guy who put wrestling chops up against Merab Dvalishvili and did well. Look at how good Song Yadong looked in his last fight against Chris Gutierrez in the wrestling with his trips and all that kind of stuff. Ricky Simón out grappled Song Yadong anytime they grappled. He got 2 takedowns to Song Yadong's 0. We were talking about a guy who is maybe one of the better wrestlers in the division, up against a guy who I have questions about his takedown defense. So yeah, all day here, I take Ricky Simón. And I will also just say, Mario Bautista's best part of his game, with the exception of the couple of flying knees he's hit for knockouts, it's his wrestling and his offensive wrestling. And I don't think he can wrestle Ricky Simón. I think he loses that battle 10 times out of 10. Yeah,
that's why I flipped back to Simón. I was tentatively in on Bautista, I think just because he was underdog. But yeah, the wrestling obviously was the thing that made me change my mind for Simón. Not that he isn't good in the feet as well. So yeah, Simón is the pick here. All right, let's move up, not way up, couple weight classes. Lightweight, Jim Miller versus Gabriel Benitez. We're talking about UFC 300, but Jim Miller is fighting this weekend as well. And then he'll be ready to go for Conor McGregor at UFC 300, right? That's what he told you?
That's what he told me.
Good old A10. All right. If you want to know what we're talking about, listen to the Top Turtle MMA podcast, last week's episode where Jim Miller was on it. He mentioned Conor McGregor. He also mentioned his nickname and where it came from. He mentions lots of things. So listen to that episode. All right. Gabriel Benitez. I don't think he's been on Top Turtle.
Nah.
Right? Nah. His name's Mowgli from that Jungle Book, right? But it's spelled
I don't know
differently.
if it's from that because it's spelled differently.
It's spelled differently, yeah. So maybe it's not. Anyhow, that's what it sounds like. He's 23-10, 9 knockouts, 10 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted twice. 7-6 in the UFC. He's only won 1 of his last 3. He did win his last fight though via TKO. It was back in August of 2022. Used to fight at featherweight. Has missed weight in the past. 2007 was his pro MMA debut. 5 years younger than Miller. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes, and he's got positive strike differential of 0.74 strikes per minute, plus 115. Miller, A10. If you want to know what that means, Top Turtle. He's 36-17 with 1 no contest, 7 knockouts, 19 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 3 times, 20. So he's very durable, to say the least. 25-16 with 1 no contest in the UFC. So this would be fight 43 in the UFC. 4-1 over his last 5. He did win his last fight via knockout. All 4 of his past 4 wins have come via finish. He's not lost since. His last decision win was back in 2016. So something to keep in mind. If you want to pick Miller and you want to make the line even better, keep that in mind. Inside the distance might be the way to go. Used to fight at welterweight and used to fight at featherweight. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Use the code playoffs. You get 15% off and you help out Gumby and myself win this contest run. 2005 was his pro MMA debut. Andre Arlovsky says, hold my beer to that. Miller's got a negative strike differential of 0.22 strikes per minute. So barely. He's at minus 115. Obviously, I'm taking A10 Jim Miller here. They're matching him up with another old guy. But Miller's still really, really good. So give me Jim Miller and his old man power.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference maker in this one, right? Like if you go back and you look at Gabriel Benitez's recent record, that dude's been flatlined like 3 out of his last 4 losses. He's taken big KOs, and we've noticed Jim Miller's power is exceptional lately, right? Like he knocked out Nicholas Moda, who we talked about on yesterday's show. Like he's got big hands now, and he's not afraid to use them. In addition to that, I think he could out-grapple Gabriel Benitez. He opened this fight as an underdog, and man, is the public hammering Jim Miller because not only is he no longer an underdog, like he's starting to creep up that favorite. You said negative 115. Wouldn't surprise me to this get up to negative 125, negative 130 by fight time. People seem to be all in on Jim Miller here. I think it's a slam dunk. I think he's the type of guy who is trouble for Gabriel Benitez and always have been trouble for Gabriel Benitez. Real winnable fight for Jim Miller. Love the odds.
Is it the Lyme disease that gave him his special powers, Gumby, you think?
Yeah, I mean, he is fought back from that in an incredible fashion, right? Because his first win with Lyme disease was UFC 200, and since then his record has looked nice since then. So props to him. Yeah, looking forward to what comes next for him, especially if he scores a nice KO here.
Miller inside the distance plus 130. That's a good number. Miller by knockout plus 300, an even better number. Just let I throw that out there.
It's up to 300, huh?
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm stealing some of Gumby's thunder here. I should maybe shut my mouth.
You definitely are.
All right. I'm going to tell you about sponsors. Anyhow, let's do that. Let's do that early, shall we? Since we're zipping through the fights so far, I'm dying to tell you about Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S. based and legal in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is a new and better way to bet directly against your friends or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, and other events with verifiable outcomes and tons of fun social features. They give it the feel of a betting social network. Cut offers lower VIG and fully customizable odds. Create your own bets. Cut handles the payment side of things, so you never have to chase anyone down for dollars. Social features are group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and more. And the rewards, you can get your cash back every single time you bet against your friends and other users. Head to cut.com. It's KUTT.com and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football, MMA. They've got it all over there. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player's fantasy stats and cash in. I told you not to take Gumby's Cade Cunningham pick the other night.
You got hurt. They refunded. They respect. They voided that one. He only played
because they're a good company. That's why.
Yeah, he played 10 minutes.
All right, Gumby, do you have a play, or are you going to make another player get injured if you mention their name?
I'm gonna go MMA again because 'tis the season for Underdog Fantasy on MMA. They're back at it, and I like Fareed Basharat, who we mentioned on yesterday's show. His higher than on his takedowns is currently listed at 2.5. I'd get in on that. I think he's going to land 3 takedowns against Lopoulos. He hasn't been a big finisher, and that fight is going to be spamming some wrestling. So give me Fareed Basharat's higher than on his takedowns.
Ferociously spamming some wrestling.
Yeah,
ferocious Fareed.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, he is ferocious. It's a fitting nickname. So watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on our Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit of up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. All right, Gumby, what are we moving on to? Co-main event time? Yes.
Yeah, baby.
Flyweights. Matthias Nicolau versus Manel Kape. Very good fight. All right, Nicolau, obviously his nickname is Pleasure. Matthias Nicolau. There's a call back to yesterday's episode. No, he has no nickname. His nickname is Mr. I can't remember who's he dating again. One of the Pollyannas, or he's with a female UFC fighter.
Is he with Pollyanna Viana?
No, maybe. Who's his?
Well, this is just great radio.
Luana Pinheiro.
Okay.
Pinheiro. It's not a Pollyanna. It's a Luana. All right. Anyhow, she'll probably be in his corner, but that's neither here nor there. Let's tell you about Matthias Nicolau. 19-3-1, 5 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. So he's been knocked out in all of his losses by my math. 7-2 in the UFC over 2 stints. It's so silly that they got rid of him at one point. Or no, wait, that might have been a contract thing, right?
He left. I think it was also when they were trimming the flyweight division.
Yes. Silly UFC. He's 6-1 over his last 7, but he did lose his last fight via knockout. Gumby, who knocked him out?
Brandon Royval.
There you go. No shame there. He did beat Manel Kape back in 2021, but if you look at MMAdecisions.com, did he beat him? I don't know. He used to fight at bantamweight, 2-1 in the Ultimate Fighter, 2010 pro MMA debut. He's got an inch of height on Kape, better grappling stats, and he has outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.52 strikes per minute, plus 230. No respect at the books for him. Manel Kape, star boy. 19-6, 11 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been submitted twice. 4-2 in the UFC. He's won 4 straight fights after dropping his first 2 UFC fights. He's not lost since March of 2021. He has missed weight in the past. Something to keep in mind because he did used to fight up at bantamweight. He was actually a champion up there because he's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Remember, playoffs is your discount code, 15% off. Used to fight, I told you, bantamweight. 2012, he's been fighting since. 2 inches of reach on Nicolau, more active landing strikes, plus 0.61 strike differential. So he barely outstrikes his opponents, but a bit better than Nicolau. Minus 270.
I'm going with Kape here. I recognize that first fight was close. And a lot of people scored it for Kape, but it's not even just that fight was close. It's that this is not the same guy he's fighting anymore. He's not fighting the same Manel Kape anymore. He came to the UFC expecting to be the best dude in the world and just didn't fight for it. I mean, he opened his UFC career fighting Pantoja, which, first of all, insane first fight. And in that fight, I think if he pressed, he beats Pantoja. Honest truth. In that fight, he looked good enough to beat Pantoja in many moments and then just never moved forward enough to actually do it. He repeated that against Nicolau. A lot of people think he won that fight, but if he put his foot on the gas, there would have been no doubt that he won that fight. And since then, I don't know if he started seeing a mental coach. I don't know if he trained it as actual coaching. I don't know if it just dawned on him that it's time to freaking go for it. But since he's done that, he's been damn near one of the best flyweights in the world. He's explosive. His takedown defense is great. When he mixes in his own wrestling, it's good. His hands are electric. He throws flying knees. Dude, I just think legitimately him versus Pantoja is maybe the best fight you could make right now in the flyweight division. And Nicolau just got knocked senseless with a flying knee, which, by the way, Manel Kape loves to throw flying knees. That's his thing. So like, I think he's got so many weapons here. I think Nicolau was probably never as good as him and just saw him in this like weird low IQ version of himself that appeared for 2 fights. But yeah, I think Kape with his new aggression and his new, ways to work the body and stuff like that. Like, I just think he's going to devastate Nicolau.
Yeah, this is a really good fight. I agree with everything you say there. This is the different Manel Kape. This is the one that we were promised when he came into the UFC. He's took him a couple fights to figure things out, but yeah, now that he's got things in high gear, I wouldn't want to fight him. I wouldn't want to fight him anyhow, but everybody else in the flyweight division should not want to fight him at this point because he's looking dangerous. This is a really good fight though. So it's hard to say. Do you think this is title implications?
So I think I said when we did our State of the Union, which by the way, you guys can go back and listen to our State of the Union of all the different divisions. I said it comes down to how he looks in this fight against Nicolau and how Amir Albazi and Brandon Moreno shakes out. I think between those 4 fighters, whoever looks the best gets Pantoja next. So certainly if he started the year with like knocking Nicolau senseless in 30 seconds, I mean, that got Royval a contender fight, like a championship fight. Mm-hmm. No reason to think it wouldn't get Kape one.
Yep. Good points. That's why I have you on this show. All right. Main event time. Light heavyweights. 3 5-minute rounds. 5 5-minute rounds. Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Walker 21-7 with 1 no contest. 16 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted once. 7-4 with 1 no contest in the UFC. 3-0-1. 3-0 with 1 no contest over his last 4. That no contest, of course, is the last fight where Magomed Ankalaev threw a knee when he shouldn't have thrown a knee and got himself disqualified. 1-0 on the contender series for Walker. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Playoffs is your discount code. Used to fight at heavyweight, 2013 Pro MMA debut. 3 inches height, 7 inches of reach for Walker. More active landing strikes than Ankalaev. He's outstruck his UFC opponents for 1.23 strikes per minute, plus 410. Ankalaev, 17-1-1 with 1 no contest, 9 knockouts. He's been submitted once, a lot of ones. 9-1-1 is his record with 1 no contest in the UFC. 0-1 with 1 no contest over his last 2. Of course, no contest last fight. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to that link and go to the MMA Gambling Podcast gear and you'll figure it out. And then you can get the shirt and type in playoffs and you get 15% off. And Gumby and I will be praised by our bosses. 2014 Pro MMA debut for Ankalaev. He also has a Sambo championship, at least one of them, on his mantle. Plus 1.36 is the strength differential and the positive there, obviously. That's why I said plus. Minus 450. All right, I took Walker the first time, Gumby. I'm taking Walker again. Ankalaev finds a way to fumble the bag, as the kids say. And just like last fight, fumbled the bag. So give me Johnny Walker at a much bigger number.
I took Ankalaev the first time. I think you'll remember.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I did. Shocking, right? Because you know how much I love Johnny Walker. I flip-flop. Yep. I'm going Johnny Walker here too.
Hey.
And the reason is like, I know the narrative on that first fight was like, man, Ankalaev was in control, right? Like, this is a guy who's figured it out. And like, was he in control? He actually was losing the striking exchanges. Like, if you watch the first 2.5 minutes of that, Johnny Walker's landing his jab. Johnny Walker's landing the better punches. Johnny Walker's controlling the range because it turns out Magomed Ankalaev actually sucks at finding range. Like, go back and watch his Jan Blachowicz fight. He's got no idea where Jan Blachowicz is for at least 2 rounds and then starts to figure it out in like the late 3rd, early 4th round. And that's when he takes over, right? He won the 4th and won a 10-8, a 5th, winds up with a draw there. I think that's like a great indicator of how this fight is, especially because we were talking about Johnny Walker being a smarter fighter now. Like he's more like Jan Blachowicz than he was before. He's longer than Jan Blachowicz. And like, I don't think that first fight looks as bad for Johnny Walker. If you take that one shot to the solar plexus that kind of doubled him over, and then, Ankalaev rushes in and he throws a flying knee, winds up on his back. And like, he did a great job defending on his back and up against the cage. Like Ankalaev didn't land anything big. He kept trying to stick a rear naked choke in, and Johnny Walker was just like having none of that. Like, I think that second round would have started on the feet if, obviously the legal knee doesn't hit Johnny Walker in the side of the head, or if for some reason the translator realizes Johnny Walker has no idea where the UAE is. And like
the desert, he said. He does know where it is.
He's in the desert. He knew where he was. But like if they let that fight keep going, like I still like Johnny Walker in that fight. He was establishing his range. He had one slip up where he got taken down. And again, it's kind of like we were talking about with Arlovsky yesterday. The odds are just like, you can't back Magomed Ankalaev, who looks like a much worse striker on the feet than Johnny Walker, at 4-1. Like that to me is a nuts line. Like, it's an insane line here. So yeah, I think the value on Johnny Walker and particularly like Johnny Walker KO props, man, like that, dude, that they're there for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Ankalaev, fight IQ, not all there. It's not there. Like, he only
that
has
illegal
one
knee
loss,
was so obvious, dude. That illegal knee was so obvious.
Like, he seems like he should have more than one loss, but he doesn't. He only has one loss, but he seems to find a way to make things difficult for himself.
And he doesn't. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's catapulted him to the top of this division. He's probably one of the best 7 or 8 light heavyweights in the UFC right now. But that doesn't mean that he like looks impressive all the time and he's like devastating and like you're like, oh, if there's a guy in the light heavyweight division I don't want to fight right now, it's Magomed Ankalaev. Like, why? Because like he's an average boxer and sometimes remembers that he can wrestle.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. Like, he should just wrestle Johnny Walker. Hopefully he's not listening. But yeah, he should just wrestle Johnny Walker.
But I don't even know that his wrestling's good enough because low key Johnny Walker, since moving to Straight Blast Gym, his takedown defense is played up. Like, it has gotten better working with John Kavanagh. And I know people shit on John Kavanagh and don't think he's actually a really great coach, but I think he's remade Johnny Walker into maybe a less exciting version, but definitely a better version of himself.
He says he's going to fight like a robot. So he's going to be
I think that just means
Johnny Walker, I guess.
I think that means just when he comes out to the cage, he's going to do the robot. And then that's
that would probably
that's really
hurt himself.
Yeah, probably.
The worm's too dangerous. Too dangerous. So he's moved on to the robot.
There you go.
It's true.
Classic.
All right, let's recap our plays and then we will give you our fancy plays. Let me get the window open here. All right. Both have Walker, both have Kape, both have Miller, both have Simon, both have Ferreira. Hey, it's a clean sweep, Gumby.
One fight on the whole 12 fight card.
Yep. All right. We're going to give you our fancy plays after I tell you about Hall of Fame bets. You can win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame bets. The sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. And train your parlay idea in the Hall of Fame bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit HOFbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. All right. We do a thing. This is really unique to our show. Locks, dogs, props, parlays, right? Maybe you haven't heard of it, but we give her a lock pick, we give her a dog pick, we give her a parlay and a prop pick. Unique, right?
We're one of a kind here.
One of a kind. All right. Well, we'll let you kick off the new year, Gumby. You can go first.
All right. So for my lock of the week, I'm gonna go kind of a bigger one because I want to start the year off right. Marcus McGee, -250. I think he's a slam dunk in the prelims. I don't think there's any way he loses this fight.
Oh, now you said it. All right, let me go with a Ricky Simone, a -160 pick. How's that sound?
Yeah, that was my other one. I
thought you were going to say that.
Yeah, and I do really love Ricky Simone. And I was trying to decide whether or not I like Ricky Simone better or I like his odds better than I like Marcus McGee's.
Yeah.
And bottom line is I think I just like the odds better. I'd like Marcus McGee to actually win the fight a little bit more. My turn for underdog.
Doggy dog.
Oh God. I only picked 3 on the whole fight card. So
yeah, and they're all big ones. We picked 3 big ones.
Two of them are big ones. One of them is a size. Screw it. I'm gonna go.
5 is pretty big, man.
I'm gonna go my guy back here, Andrei Arlovsky.
His boyfriend.
Yeah, 525. I mean, like just the value on this one, and plus if I hit it, I'll be ahead on my dogs for pretty much the rest of the year.
Yeah, no kidding. You definitely will. I'll be a coward and I'll take Felipe Bunez at only at plus 205 against fearless Joshua Van. If you want to hear why, listen to yesterday's show.
Yeah,
all right, we got a prop play. You like that one too?
I almost went with that one too. We're definitely on the same page on this card. Prop, easy one. Jim Miller. Give me Jim Miller knockout. Yep. Jim Miller knockout plus 300. Get out of town. Come on, he's knocking that dude out. 100% plus 300. Maybe one of the easier lines I've seen out there.
I got a knockout prop too. Not quite as good as yours or as high as yours, but I like the Hulk for Ferreira to knock out Phil Hawes plus 125. We told you at the top of the show why we like that one.
You want to hear the best thing?
Yes.
We're going to get to my Hungry Man Jong parlay. Do you want to explain what it is?
Hungry Man Jong Superfan parlay. It's a 2-fight parlay. And when it hits, because it hits on occasion, you're going to get at least 10 times your money. Sometimes Gumby goes crazy and gives you like 20 times your money, but we'll see what he has cooked up this week.
Yeah. So my first part of that was Bruno Ferreira by count knockout. Yeah, like I had it outlined already. I have it saved in my phone. Yeah, Bruno Ferreira by knockout, plus 125. I think it's a great parlay builder. Obviously, because I'm going 10-1 on these, I'm going to have to dig for a little bit better odds after having Bruno Ferreira in there. Johnny Walker's money line, dude. Johnny Walker's money line plus 410. Put those two together, you're going to get 1048 on the return. And I like the KO option on Johnny Walker too, but when you're just looking for 10-1, as we all are, we're all just looking for 10-1 in the world.
That's all we want.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense here. So just go Johnny Walker money line, Bruno Ferreira KO.
We're not greedy. All right, McGee and Simon are the locks. Arlovsky, Bunez are the dogs. Miller knockout, Ferreira knockout are the props, and Ferreira knockout. Parlay that up with Johnny Walker's money line. You get plus 1048. Boom. We are out of here. Thank you for coming to the show. We're going to be back on Sunday to recap and count our money as we like to do. In the meantime, catch us in Discord, especially during the fights, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Where else can you catch us? Catch us on Twitter, SGPN MMA. Gumby's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer on there. And on Instagram, you can catch Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast. Should be in your feeds now. I am trying to think. You have Bunez and Van are the yes, I haven't listened yet and I remembered. Joshua Van, Felipe Bunez are his guests this week. Go to moneymma.substack.com, get in my free pick'em contest. Obviously we told you the merch store playoffs is the code, sportsgamblingpodcast.com and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon as well. All right, let's get out of here, Gumby.
All right, I'm David Gumby Vreeland. He's A10 Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.